Welcome to Almeria, Spain. Many Europeans know it as a vacation destination and come here to soak up the sun. But if they were to venture out just a few kilometers from these resorts, they'd find themselves in the world's largest greenhouse complex. Referred to as Europe's Garden or Mar de Plástico, Sea of Plastic, these greenhouses grow most of Europe's vegetables. Covering an area of 450 square kilometers, the greenhouses reflect so much light into the atmosphere that it's actually dropped the temperature in the area by a few degrees. Over 65% of the tomatoes, half the bell peppers, 80% of the cucumbers, and 94% of the eggplant sold in Europe come from here.
When Jay and I were living in the UK, we discovered at the grocery store that most of the fresh produce came from Spain. Broccoli, peppers, cucumbers, spinach. After doing some research, we learned that about 100,000 migrant laborers work in the Almeria greenhouses. Most of them are from Eastern Europe and West Africa. Since many of them are working in Spain illegally and don't have official contracts, they're subject to poor working conditions.
Elena, who came to Spain from Romania and worked in the greenhouses for several years, recalls how the people with contracts were put to work near the road, while those without contracts worked in the back, away from the eyes of the authorities.
I remember they used to yell, "The police is coming!" and we used to hide between the tomatoes. Because if they would have catch us, they would have taken us to the police, and after that, they would have sent us to Romania.
One of the biggest challenges for workers is the heat inside the greenhouses. Despite the high temperatures, Elena was required to bring her own water from home.
One day I remember I was looking at the temperature and they were 60 degrees. I was like going and making a hole with my finger in the plastic to breathe fresh air.
I remember when we first get in Almeria, I saw this greenhouse. I didn't know what it was. So somebody said to me, "Where is your future?"
Most people who come to Spain think it's a land of opportunity, but they don't realize what the conditions will be. This experience is echoed by migrant laborers all around the world. Because they often fall through the cracks of the legal system, their well-being relies solely on the landowners they work for. Some are kind and treat their workers well, but many abuse their power. Mario and Elena admitted that on the bell curve of experiences, theirs wasn't the worst. But even still, the conditions were not good.
The blue dust is for treatment of the leaves. They spray with a tractor, and when you work, you touch the plant and the leaves shake and all the dust falls on your hand. The tomatoes, they are 2 meters and 20 high, they grow, so sometimes you work like this, so all the dust falls in your eyes, in your head. You can't put glasses because the temperature in the glasses, you can't see nothing because you are sweating. It makes you ill inside, all this stuff. You don't realize when you are working there, but if you stop and think, and after a few years working in the same place, in the same things, you feel that something is wrong with your body.
When I go to the supermarket and I buy tomatoes and I smell, only the smell, it brings me very bad memories. Yeah.
They don't care about you. You get sick, you go home. We have another 10, 20 people waiting on our office to come and work.
A local pastor who got to know Mario, Elena, and their families saw their suffering and helped them out of the greenhouses. The church community got them on their feet and helped them find healthier, more dignified employment. Almeria isn't the only place where laborers are being exploited. In fact, taking advantage of the workers at the bottom of the supply chain happens in many global industries. Domestic work, agriculture, construction, and manufacturing in particular are known for human rights abuses, including human trafficking. As supply chains get more complex, exploitation becomes easier to hide. The good news is that as consumers, we have enormous power. Every dollar we spend is a vote for what we value. If something is cheap, it often means that someone else is paying the true cost, the human cost.
We got to visit a coffee co-op in the mountains of Yirgacheffe, Ethiopia. We drove 13 and a half hours on the bumpiest roads you can imagine and finally reached the place where our local coffee shop in Ontario gets its coffee beans. We met a farmer and his family as they were picking cherries off the tree, and we got to take part in a traditional Ethiopian coffee ceremony. Ethiopia is considered the birthplace of coffee, and it's so cool that because of initiatives like fair trade and the growth of farmer co-ops, many families are able to make their living from farming.
Fair trade cuts out some of the middlemen and ensures that producers receive prices that cover the cost of sustainable production. Then there's the fair trade premium, an additional sum of money that's used for community projects like schools, health clinics, clean water, and better roads. While no single system can eliminate all forms of exploitation, initiatives like fair trade provide protections for people who would otherwise be crushed under the weight of greed. We're usually pretty good at taking care of our own needs and fighting for our own preferences. If we want a living wage, benefits, time off when we're sick, and safe working conditions for ourselves, Jesus says we should desire that for others too. It may mean paying a higher cost for a product, writing a letter to our favorite brands, or making less profit. Or maybe it means stepping into someone else's situation and offering a way out.
It was like, when you climb a mountain, you have a bag with stones, very heavy, and when you reach on the top of the hill and you throw the bag away, it's like, I'm free.